Good evening. So last week Pietro discussed whether we need a skipper's license or not, and this week she was supposed to do the insurance. She's still very busy with the insurance exams, and she's actually a short-term insurance broker, so she need to qualify for actually marine to get a marine insurance license or something like that. But she's now been already insurance brokers for the last, I think, 10 or 15 years. So she's quite good in insurance, so that promised to be a very good one. But this week I want to explain something about how the skipper's license course work. So some of our viewers actually ask us, so how does this whole thing work? They actually emailed us as well, a couple of them emailed us and say, the skipper's license thing, how does it work? Because if you go to the RYA site, it is pretty messy. You don't know where to start and you don't know where to end. So there is actually a nice diagram there, and the diagram is actually showing that the blue ones is on the water, so you need to do all of those things in water. So normally you start with the yachting, so you get interested in a boat. And then from the boat, when you get interested, you think, now I need to be qualified. So from the qualification, when you start thinking you need to qualify, then you do the essential navigation and seamanship. And from there, you can say, okay, maybe this is now getting really serious. You go to competent crew, and this is actually the recommended route to go. And then after that, you do your first day skipper exam. So this is more or less where me and Pietro starts, because I want to do the fast track YachtMaster, coastal YachtMaster offshore one, and she's just want to do day skipper. So as we said before, we actually want only to enrich ourselves, so that we know more or less what we're getting ourselves into, how the ropes look like, the point of sails, understand? Not like the other sailing channels where they get onto a boat and they just go, and hopefully everything will sort itself out. Of course, we can do that, but I do not think that is always such a wise move. So I would like to know more. I'm one of those guys that do a lot of research, as you know by now. So I would like to know what it is, what we're doing. So we start a day skipper. So and that's the exam that she will do, and I'm doing a refresher for that. And then we actually do the day skipper miles and hours and shifts like that on sea. So you can see from the coastal skipper, you can do the miles, so you need to get all the miles, and we'll get to that, how many miles that is just now. And then you can do a practical exam. So this one in the ovals is actually practical exams. So you can do the practical exam for the coastal, YachtMaster coastal, and then YachtMaster offshore. That's another certificate of competence for those two qualifications. Then you can do your further miles to get the ocean, but then you need to do a theoretical exam for the YachtMaster Ocean, and it is basically just the celestial navigation. So this is now the table here is to say what is the course, and this is how it normally goes, and we will only go to skipper, coastal skipper, so this is why this is only up to coastal skipper. There's assumed knowledge, there's a course content, there's ability to what you will have after the course, and what is the minimum duration for that specific course. So what is the fees for this? So first of all, we registered with Nav at Home. So Nav at Home, the website we will put down below, have actually exactly the same thing. So they have this day skipper one, and this is just theory. So keep in mind, this is only the theory, the shore-based exams. which you do online. So, and you can do it at home. So nav at home. And then you can do the theory course assessment. That's the price, and this is what you're going to do. And these are the things that you get. Peter also got more or less similarly the same things. We get this nice dividers. Look at this. We can do now charty thingies. Weapon on board. And then we get this nice thingy that can show you what it is. We already have done some courses. And a weather book. This is the little booklet that you need to study. So it has all these nice things. What is the lights that you will expect, and when is the lights going to go, collision and course, and also the rules and the wind and the weather and things like that. So I think it's pretty cool to have this so that you actually know which way the boat is coming or not coming. And there's even landmine lines or sea mine lights. Here's the almanac. So this training almanac also have all the titles. And this is training. You will see later on it is 100% training. You cannot do anything. You cannot use it for navigational purposes and so on. So here's the practical exams that you can see over here. I'm not going to give you the cheat codes. But part of this one is actually it gives you a voucher. So this electronic chart plotter voucher. And I will discuss the chart plotter just now. So you can then have the chart plotter and you can have this. And then also you have maps. And again, very, 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 very big. It says not to be used for navigation. You can even Google search these names. They don't exist. It's all funny names. But yeah, so you get the two chart things and you get your little plotter ruler thingies. Not sure what you call these things, but it's a and then the stabby thingies, this pointy thingy. You get this as well, so very cool things. So this is what you get for these prices. And whether you do the YachtMaster offshore or the day skipper, this is what you will get. You will get more or less the same things. It's just the questions will differ. And then the one that is very different from of course, is this one, where it says Coastal Skipper, YachtMaster offshore. So this is the crash course for that. And then my theory is very different. It just goes much more into weather patterns. It just goes much more into tidals. As Pietro mentioned before, RYA is heavy on tidals. Something that the Americans, they're very on safety. There is safety stuff in here, but it is maybe 2 pages of safety, like be sensible kind of things. Well, the ASA, the first 5 chapters is just about safety and regulations and laws and things like that. While these guys is more entitled, and rightly so. Some places on Earth has huge tidal, like 10-meter tidal differences. So I think I would rather go for this one. Safety is maybe good, but you wear a life jacket, you wear a harness, and you are kind of like safe. You don't need to have 5 chapters on how to wear a harness, and how to maintain a harness, and when to replace a harness, and when not to use a certain type of thing. So that is then for theory. So for theory, you could do that, and then if you look at the prices for the fees for RYA, and again, just keep in mind these fees might change. It might differ between me and also between the South Africans and from the other ones. Let me just find out where is the fees. The exam fees for RYA online, not online. This is now the practical one when you get onto the boat. So we're going to do our exam fees at Langebaan in South Africa, just a little bit north, a couple of 100 kilometers north of Cape Town. So we will do our practical there, and you can do it on your own boat. So I'm not sure whether we can ask a skipper to come down. We have already sent emails, and I suspect you can do that. You can bring one of the examiners on board, and then he will do that. There's certain rules for the boat to be. Certain length and certain ropes and certain safety regulations and things like that before you can just use your own boat. and they have the right to say whether your boat is good or not good for exams. So this is just indicative figures then for what the practical exams will cost you, the certifications. Day skipper, the prerequisites, here's the thing for day skipper. So it is a little bit hidden. You need to go quite far. You first need to go to courses, training, learning, and then sail cruising, and then you will see the different courses. And the YachtMaster is not there. It's a different one. Don't know why they have this. So then this is the requirements that you need to do. I'm not going to go too much over it, but before you can write the practical exams, you need to have at least those things. And then from there you go over to for me, I will need to do the coastal, right? So coastal, again, this is the requirements for the coastal. And because I'm combining is fast track, I can then actually do that one and the offshore all in one, provided that my miles is good. And this is where you can see now 50 days at sea, 2,500 nautical miles. So for that we're going to go up the coast of South Africa, the east coast of South Africa, and if that is not enough, and I actually calculated it might just not be enough, we will go into Mozambique and then sail all the way up to Inambane and maybe Comores, and those places depends on how confident we are, but we have to start getting confident. So we will do that then. And it's not that we're just going to sail off all on our own, just me and Pietro. We will have a competent skipper on board, and we already arranged for that. So this person is actually a very competent instructor, actually, RYA and SIS instructor. So he will help us on our learning curve, if you want to call it like that. And then my brother and his wife will also join us. They both want to also looking at getting a catamaran and sail with us around the world. We decided to go for nav at home. And nav at home have these things. So you go in there, and because I need to do the day skipper revision, I already did section 1, section 2, and I'm now busy with section 3. So, and if you look at, if you finish each one of these sections, you get these emails from them, which is actually, I think, very cool. So you get the email and it tells you what is your result in it. So you can see it's pretty easy. I get 100% for all of them. It's not that difficult. I mean, red light and green light. So you just need to know which side is red light and which side is green light. Then you can answer most of these things. And the titles is not too bad. The navigation is not too bad. But I've also got some already in the army, some experience in the army on chart and mapping and things like that. So naturally it does come easy for me. Pietro was here last week and she brought me some good quality wine from South Africa. Cheers. Another thing that I managed to do is I managed to get a US visa. So this is a 10 years visa, so I can now go to that continent as well. Multiple entry, 10 years visa on a South African passport. I think it's awesome. So I'm applying now for the British passport. So then I can also do not just American territories like Hawaii, for example. I can also do then the British territories where the UK visa will be required. Okay, RYA training plotter, the RYA training chart plotter. So this is how the chart plotter looks like. You can see here it says very clearly at the bottom, not to be used for navigation. And then if you go up, you can see on my left, this left hand side, is the raster-based map. So this is the same map as the paper-based map. So it is just basically a photo or a scan image of the paper-based map, and you can zoom in, but not much. So you cannot really chart on it because you don't have a pencil, and a pencil on a computer screen doesn't work that well. So paper-based doesn't work. And this is why they have more or less for the same one. You can see this island here is represented. There is in a vector-based map. So what is different with a vector-based map? It is more interactive. So I can now double click on that one and it will show me the depth and all of these things, but also on this side it will actually show me, if I can just move you guys over to this side, you can actually see that they actually tell you what is the cardinal, what it is. If I go to that one, you can see it's an isolated danger. So all of these things is interactive basically, just like a chart plotter should be. And it can tell you the light, how the light is working, what is the light frequencies. Let me just, there you can see the light frequencies. But what is very impressive about this is if I, for example, want to sail from there to there, and then I just say, alright, then I just say, this is going to be my bearing line. So, not the bearing, sorry, not my bearing. My water track line. So the water track line will go to the lighthouse, right? Not into the lighthouse, but onto the lighthouse. From the rock. So now you can see, let me just get it more in the center. So now you can see the bearing line is like that. It is 4.7 nautical miles, so 4.74 nautical miles. The track is like, the true magnetic bearing is like this, blah blah blah, all of those things. But now the nice thing is, now you say there's a tidal stream coming from there. So now you can actually then say, alright, tidal drift line is going to, again the wrong one, is going to go from there. So you can actually say from that point, the tide is going to push me a little bit to that side, maybe 1 nautical mile to this side, bearing blah blah blah, whatever. And I need to say this is going to be my really the line that I will take over ground. Okay, so first start there again. So from that little point there, and it was 4.7 something. So I need to say 4.7. And the same line as that one. 4.7. Ooh, too far. There you go, more or less like that. And this is going to be my actual track that I'm going to use. So it is actually kind of like cool if you start thinking about it, that you can actually use this to do your planning and things like that. But it is a training chart plotter, so it's not a real McCoy. And this is it for training chart plotter, so I think this is actually quite cool. So that's it for this week. Hit that subscribe button, like if you liked, or unlike if you unlike. And we will see you the next week. Hopefully Pietro will have by then all the facts together for insurance, especially boat marine insurance. And I'm also still working on all options with Marcel, so very soon I will even give you all the prices, the base price, the factory option price, and also what it more or less will cost me to do all my aftermarket options. See you next week.